the tennis world is buzzing again, and this time Eala is right in the middle of it. After surviving a wild 3-set battle against American Caty McNally at the National Bank Open in Toronto, Eala is moving on, and the conversation surrounding her is getting bigger by the day. But now there's another storyline catching fire across the tennis community, reports and online discussion claiming that Serena Williams has been paying close attention to Eala's rise. And if one of the most accomplished players the sport has ever seen really is watching this closely, that tells you just how quickly Eala's profile has changed. This isn't simply another match recap. Eala's 6-3, 5-7, 6-4 victory over McNally showed exactly why so many fans are starting to believe she belongs on the sport's bigger stages. It had momentum swings, physical adversity, pressure, a fired-up crowd, and one final set in which neither player wanted to give an inch. Eala had to earn this one the hard way, and that may be the most important part of the story. There has been plenty of online speculation suggesting Serena Williams has taken notice of Eala's composure, shot-making, and ability to handle pressure. Those specific comments have not been independently confirmed through a reliable direct Serena Williams interview, so they should be treated as reports rather than established quotations. But the larger conversation around Eala's potential is absolutely real, because performances like the one she produced against McNally are becoming harder and harder to ignore. Think about what Eala had to deal with in Toronto. She took control of the opening set and won it 6-3, appearing to have the match moving in the direction she wanted. Her left-handed game was creating problems, she was finding the court aggressively, and she looked comfortable feeding off the energy inside the stadium. Then everything got complicated. McNally refused to disappear. She started changing the rhythm, extending points, making Eala work harder and forcing her into uncomfortable positions. During the second set, Eala took a fall and required attention to her right foot. Suddenly, what had looked like a manageable match became a serious physical and mental test. Eala still put herself in position to close it out. She reached 5-4 in the second set and had an opportunity to finish the match in straight sets. But McNally showed exactly why she is such a dangerous competitor. The American ripped off 3 consecutive games, stole the second set 7-5 and sent the match into a deciding third. Now the pressure was real. Eala was coming off a demanding stretch of tennis. Her body had taken another hit. The crowd was emotionally invested in practically every point, and across the net was an opponent who suddenly had all the momentum. This is where promising players can unravel. Eala didn't. The final set became a battle of nerve as much as technique. Neither woman was willing to back down. McNally kept testing Eala, while Eala kept searching for ways to regain control. There was no easy shortcut to the finish line. Eventually, Eala found it. She stayed aggressive when she needed to, trusted her game in the biggest moments and closed out the deciding set 6-4. After nearly losing control of a match she once appeared ready to finish in 2 sets, she found another way to win. And that is the kind of performance that gets the attention of people around tennis. Talent is everywhere on the WTA Tour. What separates the players who climb higher is what happens when planner stops working. Can you adjust? Can you stay composed after losing momentum? Can you recover after an injury scare? Can you forget the last point when thousands of people are reacting to everything happening around you? Eala answered those questions in Toronto. That is why the idea of legendary players taking notice doesn't feel far-fetched anymore, even if individual reported comments still need proper confirmation. And Serena Williams obviously understands pressure better than almost anyone in tennis history. Serena won 23 Grand Slam singles championships during a career that changed the sport. She competed with enormous expectations on her shoulders year after year, and became famous not only for her power but for finding another level when matches became uncomfortable. So when fans hear reports connecting Serena's name with Eala, the reaction is immediate. But there is another Williams connection that doesn't depend on speculation. Venus Williams has actually shared the court with Eala. Venus and Eala first teamed up in doubles at Bad Homburg in 2026 and later reunited for another doubles appearance. The sight of a young Filipino star playing beside one of the most recognizable champions in tennis created exactly the kind of generational crossover fans love. That connection matters because Eala is no longer operating on the edge of the tennis spotlight. She is becoming part of the main conversation, and the numbers surrounding her growing popularity tell their own story. Toronto tournament director Carl Hale said Eala was responsible for upward of 5,000 ticket sales surrounding one of her appearances, demand that exceeded the capacity of the smaller grandstand venue. That is not ordinary early round attention. That is star power. Fans from the Filipino community have been turning Eala matches into events. Flags are everywhere. The noise rises whenever she builds momentum. Social media lights up before and after her matches. Watch parties and fan gatherings have followed her progress thousands of miles away from the court itself. The phenomenon now has a name, Eala mania. And this didn't happen overnight. Back in 2022, Eala made history by winning the US Open Girls Singles Championship, becoming the first Filipino player to capture a junior Grand Slam singles title. She won the championship without dropping a set and immediately established herself as one of the most intriguing young players coming through the system. Then came Miami in 2025. That tournament changed everything. Entering the Miami Open ranked outside the top 100, Eala produced one of the most surprising runs of the season. She defeated former Grand Slam champion Jelena Ostapenko. Then came Australian Open champion Madison Keys. And then came IGA Swiatek. Eala stunned the five-time major champion 6-2, 7-5 in the quarterfinals, breaking Swiatek's serve repeatedly and showing a level of composure that seemed almost unbelievable for a 19-year-old making her first run that deep at a WTA 1000 tournament. She eventually reached the semifinals before losing to Jessica Pegula, but by that point, tennis fans already knew the name Alexandra Eala. The question was no longer whether she had potential. The question became how far she could go. Her progress continued through 2026, and then she delivered another breakthrough in Washington, D.C. Eala captured her first WTA Tour level singles championship, defeating Jessica Pegula in a historic run that made her the first Filipino player to win a WTA singles title. That victory triggered celebrations throughout the Philippines and pushed Eala's story into a completely different category. She wasn't just a talented prospect anymore. She was a champion. And now she has brought that confidence straight into Toronto. Before facing McNally, Eala fought through another three-set test against Alicia Parks, winning 6-1, 4-6, 6-2. Then came McNally. Another difficult match. Another opponent who pushed back. Another moment in which Eala had to respond. And once again, she found a way. That matters because championship careers aren't built entirely on dominant 6-1, 6-2 wins. Sometimes the matches that tell you the most are the ugly ones. The nights when your timing disappears, your body hurts, your opponent catches fire and nothing feels comfortable. Winning anyway is a skill. Eala is learning that skill in real time. Her popularity is growing just as quickly as her results. The Philippines has rallied around her in a way rarely seen around an individual tennis player. She represents a country that has produced globally recognized athletes in boxing and other sports, but has never had a women's tennis star making this kind of sustained impact at the highest level. That is why every Eala run feels bigger than one player moving through a tournament bracket. For young Filipino athletes watching from home, they are seeing somebody who looks like them, carries their flag and walks onto the same courts as Grand Slam champions without acting like she doesn't belong there. Representation like that has real power. At the same time, Eala now has to manage something every rising star eventually encounters: expectations. The better she plays, the louder those expectations become. People will talk about WTA 1000 championships. They will start talking about Grand Slams. They will compare her to legends long before she has had the time to build her own legacy. That's where perspective matters. Alex Eala does not need to become the next Serena Williams. There will only ever be one Serena. Eala's job is to become the best version of Alex Eala. Her game is different. Her journey is different. Her background is different. And her story is already historic without requiring an impossible comparison to one of the greatest champions tennis has ever produced. What Eala can take from players like Serena and Venus is the example. The willingness to embrace pressure, compete fearlessly and believe that you belong regardless of how big the stage becomes. Because the stages are definitely getting bigger. Every victory brings another highly ranked opponent. Every tournament brings more cameras. Every big moment creates more expectations back home. Toronto is the latest chapter, not the ending. And after surviving McNally in 3 sets, Eala now knows something important about herself. Even when everything doesn't go according to plan, she can still come out on the other side. That may ultimately mean more than any headline, comparison, or reported compliment from a legend. Because potential gets people talking. Winning keeps them talking. Eala is doing both. Whether Serena Williams eventually offers a detailed public assessment of Eala remains something tennis fans would love to hear directly from Serena herself. Until then, the verified results are already giving everyone plenty to discuss. A junior Grand Slam champion, a Miami Open semifinalist, a player who defeated IGA Swiatek during one of the most stunning WTA 1000 runs in recent memory, a WTA singles champion, and now, another survivor of a 3-set thriller in Toronto. Alex Eala's rise isn't a theory anymore. It is happening right in front of us. And if she keeps responding to pressure the way she did against Caty McNally, the biggest chapters of this story may still be ahead. Eala mania is real. Toronto is feeling it. The Philippines is feeling it. And the rest of the tennis world is starting to understand exactly why. The only question now is just how far Alex Eala can take this run.